My husband and his first love were holding their wedding ceremony. While I was getting ready for a prenatal checkup, he promised he'd go with me. I waited alone on the sofa all night till dawn, only to be met with abandonment. He said something urgent came up at work and he had to go on a sudden business trip, so he couldn't accompany me. I went to the hospital alone. Later, I saw a post on a mutual friend's phone. "I want to marry you again this way, as a way to make up for the regrets of the past." It was posted by his first love, wearing the same wedding dress I wore at our own wedding. That's when it hit me. Cheating doesn't just happen once it starts, it never stops. I didn't confront him like I used to. Instead, I quietly scheduled an abortion. He called me crazy and unreasonable. I calmly took out the divorce agreement, already signed. Suddenly, he panicked, dropped to his knees, and begged, "Moni, I know I was wrong. Please, give me one more chance." Chapter 1. The 18th was the day of my prenatal appointment. Leonardo finally unblocked me. He sent a message. "Wait for me at home. I'll go with you to the hospital." I glanced at it and set my phone aside. It was one of the rare times he messaged first, a way of apologizing. I guess, ever since I got pregnant, I became very sensitive to smells. Leonardo had always been considerate, until one evening, he came home with a strong perfume that didn't belong to me. I teased him, half laughing, "So which girl grabbed your hand today? You reek of perfume." But he reacted like I hit a nerve. He exploded, ignoring the fact that I was pregnant, and shouted, "Monica, can you stop being so sarcastic? I've worked all day. I'm exhausted. Can you stop acting crazy? Even if I'm your husband, don't I deserve personal space? Do I have to report every move to you? You're too controlling. I'm not your prisoner." He kept yelling like I'd done something unforgivable. He didn't even notice I had a smile on my face when I spoke. That smile slowly froze. He stormed past me and slammed the study door shut. From that day, things between us turned cold, like an invisible wall. Leonardo blocked me everywhere, even at home. He wouldn't speak. This silence lasted until the day before the checkup. If it had been the past, I'd probably be thrilled he reached out first. I would have thought, he still cares. But now, I felt nothing. I didn't even want to reply. Then his call came in. "Did you see my message? Why didn't you reply?" He sounded irritated. I used to respond instantly to any message from him. I replied flatly. My phone was on silent. "Didn't see it." He didn't push. "There's still work to do. I'll be back late. I'll go with you tomorrow. Get some rest." "Okay." After hanging up, I curled up on the sofa, numb, and fell asleep, secretly telling myself, just one last chance. When I woke up, it was morning. Leonardo was fully dressed in a suit, holding a large bag inside. I could faintly see my wedding dress. He adjusted his look in the mirror, noticing I was awake. He leaned down and gently kissed my forehead. "Moni, I have to go on a business trip. I might not make it to the appointment. Be careful on the road." I didn't question him. This wasn't the first time he left me behind. After the checkup, I was about to go home when a mutual friend spotted me and asked carefully, "Hey, why did you come alone? Where's Leo? Are you okay?" I was confused, but replied instinctively. He said work sent him to see a client. It was last minute. My friend's face shifted. Awkward. After hesitating, he handed me his phone and sighed. "Moni, I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but he's at his ex's wedding." I thought, you already knew. Chapter 2. In that moment, it felt like an invisible rope wrapped around my body, freezing me in place. My heart sank, as if filled with cold lead. The post on the phone read, "I want to marry you again like this, just to make up for what we lost back then." In the photo, Leonardo stood in a sleek suit, beside a woman, wearing my wedding dress. I suddenly remembered asking him before he left, "Why so dressed up for a business trip? I haven't seen you wear a suit in ages." He smiled too brightly. "Company rules," he said. "And why are you taking my wedding dress?" I had just asked casually, but he brushed me off. Impatiently, "The brand liked the design and wants to replicate it. I'll explain later." He left in such a rush. He didn't even notice my hand reaching out to stop him. "Are you okay? Want me to drive you home?" My friend's voice brought me back. I forced a smile. It's nothing. I guess pregnancy's messed with my memory. I must have forgotten I knew. I wanted to keep what little dignity we had left. But once alone in the car, I lost it. I broke down and sobbed uncontrollably. The girl's name was April Lee, Leonardo's first love, his white moonlight. When did I first learn about her? It was when I was pregnant with our daughter. The moment we knew it was a girl, he chose the name April without hesitation. Our anniversary is in April. I thought it was sweet. I thought it meant something. Until that night, when we were celebrating, and his best friend showed up. He asked, "So what's the baby's name?" "April," I said proudly. "It's based on our anniversary." He finally did something romantic. His friend burst out laughing. "Wait, you're kidding, right? April's his ex, his first love. You really named your kid after her?" I felt like I couldn't breathe. I didn't know what to say. All Leonardo's accounts were named April. I thought it was because of our anniversary. But that night, I realized she had always lived in his heart. I don't remember how the party ended. Just me, in the bathroom, vomiting until I saw stars. That night, Leonardo knelt in front of me, pale, slapping himself again and again. He said, "Babe, I'm sorry. I never changed the usernames. I just didn't bother. It's all in the past now." The name April. I just thought it sounded nice. That's all. Please. The baby's almost here. Forgive me this once. I swear it won't happen again. It was the first time I saw him cry. Marriage isn't easy, so I chose to believe him. To everyone around us, we were the perfect couple. But my emotional breakdown caused a premature birth. Our daughter died before she could even live. I fell apart. I spent a year in depression. Leonardo stayed by my side. He cared for me, consoled me. I thought he changed. I thought maybe he did love me after all. But today, when I saw that awful photo, I finally understood. Cheating never happens once. It happens again and again. He never changed. And he never loved me. Maybe everything that happened was fate trying to warn me. If it was never mine to begin with, I shouldn't have begged to keep it. Chapter 3. I turned around and went straight back to the hospital. Without hesitation, I scheduled an abortion. The doctor tried hard to change my mind. "The baby's healthy. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider?" But what kind of future could a child have in a home like this? After the procedure, I stayed in the hospital for a week. During that time, Leonardo didn't send a single message. When I was discharged, I took the meds the hospital prescribed and went home. I curled up on the sofa, alone. After thinking it through, I sent a message to my former supervisor. "And yeah, sis, is that overseas project still open for applications?" She replied instantly, "You little brat. What's going on? Had a sudden awakening? But weren't you just pregnant? Are you sure your health can handle working abroad?" Before marrying Leonardo, I worked in scientific research. When I got pregnant, I resigned behind his back. He said electronic devices could harm the baby. It was Njia who trusted me and let me work remotely from home after learning the truth. I once argued with Leonardo about it. All I got was, "I'm doing this for you and the baby's health. Why do you have to work? That job of yours barely pays. You think I can't support you? Monica, do you look down on me? I can provide now. Why can't you just stay home? Why do you always want to go out and work?" Over the years, our company's overseas projects grew rapidly, and Jia had recommended me multiple times. But I had another pregnancy, and once again turned her down. Health issues was the excuse. But we both knew the truth. Leonardo didn't want to let me go, and I was stupid enough to believe I was choosing this life for my child. Now I finally understood. A woman should own her life. Giving up my future for a man was beyond foolish. Lately I feel like I don't even know who I am anymore. I want a different kind of life. And Jia didn't pry. She just sent a warm voice note. "Welcome back. Anytime." That's the Monica I know. The day Leonardo came home, I was packing, getting ready to go back to work. He acted like nothing had happened, walked over and hugged me from behind, resting his head on my belly. "Moni, how was the checkup? Is our baby healthy? I wasn't home these days, but did you listen to mommy?" His voice was gentle, like he actually cared. Like he was genuinely excited for this child. I didn't plan on telling him the truth. No need to torture myself further. I just said, "Everything's fine." He finally relaxed, let go, tried to pat my head. But I dodged him. His hand froze midair, looking at my calm face. His voice softened with guilt. "Sorry, Moni, that client was really difficult. That's why it took so long. I'll go with you next time, okay? Don't be mad. And I brought you something. You always wanted this necklace. Remember? I finally bought it for you. Do you like it?" He opened a small box. Inside was the necklace. I stared at it but didn't reach out. I'd wanted that necklace for a long time. It was expensive, but looked just like the one my mom left me, the only thing she left me. I begged Leonardo to buy it, again and again. All I got was his annoyed reply. "You never asked me for gifts before. Now you're so materialistic? You've been stuck at home too long. Instead of learning something useful, you've started comparing yourself to others." He knew what that necklace meant to me, and still, he refused. After that, I never asked him for anything again. If a friend hadn't sent me that screenshot in advance, I'd still be in the dark. That necklace wasn't for me. April Lee didn't like it, so he gave it to me, his backup bin. "What's wrong? You don't like it? You used to beg me for it." Leonardo knew everything. He just never wanted to do anything for me. I didn't expose him, but I also didn't want to keep playing along. People change. I guess I don't like it anymore. I picked up my bag and walked out. That's when Leonardo panicked. He grabbed my arm. "Where are you going? Alone? I'll come with you. Are you mad?" In the past, I might have thought his words meant he cared. Now, they just felt suffocating, like being watched by someone who never truly saw me. Chapter 4. I'm not angry, and I don't need you to come with me. I'm just walking around nearby. I'll be back soon. I was thinking about work, but I didn't want another fight, so I just played along. Maybe it was my indifference. Leonardo paused beside me, as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, all he said was, "All right, just be careful. Come home early." Even though I'd still been working remotely, I'd grown rusty with hands-on tasks. And honestly, I didn't want to see Leonardo, so I stayed at the office until it was dark, getting used to the equipment again. Just as I finally sat down to rest, Leonardo's calls started, one after another. Knowing how stubborn he is, I rubbed my aching temples and finally answered. His voice came through, annoyed. "It's already dark. Aren't you coming home? Where even are you? Can't you stop throwing tantrums for once?" I almost laughed. His pregnant wife didn't come home, and he didn't even ask if I was okay, just accused me of being dramatic. I went out to clear my head. "Is that a problem? Don't you have your own life to live? Why are you constantly hovering around me?" He was speechless, but I could picture his twisted expression, even through the phone. Funny thing is, those were the exact same words he'd once thrown at me. Once the doubt is planted, it never goes away. Ever since I learned about his precious first love, I couldn't stop imagining things whenever he came home late. One time, I just asked a simple question. He snapped. "What's wrong with you now? Do you have trust issues or are you just starved for attention? Stop making problems every damn day. Don't you have a life of your own?" That hurt, because I used to have one, before I married him. Maybe realizing how harsh he sounded, Leonardo softened his voice. "Moni, that's not what I meant. I'm just worried about you. Have you eaten? Want me to make your favorite dish?" I didn't let him finish. "Eat whatever you want. I already ate." Silence. Then, finally, he spoke again. "Moni, are you still mad at me?" He didn't wait for a reply, just kept going. "You know how clients are, they want everything. I had to cooperate. That's why I didn't have time to text you. I barely ate those days. But did you care? You just threw a fit. Don't you worry I might be sad or hurt too?" A wave of bitterness rose in me. Even now, he was still lying. Was I really so pathetic? The truth is, during the time he disappeared, he wasn't working. He was off traveling with his ex. They visited so many places, places he never once took me to. Whenever I mentioned going somewhere, he'd always find an excuse. What's so great about traveling? Can you stop copying what everyone else does? Seriously, stop bothering me. Not everyone's as idle as you are. But April's social media made it obvious. It was always Leonardo suggesting their trips. And now, all my years of devotion felt like a joke. The medicine, the abortion report, they were right there, in plain sight. If he cared even a little, he would have noticed. But he didn't, because he didn't love me, never did. My silence must have pushed him over the edge. He yelled, "Monica, I've been trying so hard to explain. What more do you want from me? Just because I missed one appointment, you're doing this? I'm exhausted, okay? I'm not asking you to be perfect. But can't you try to understand me too?" His words made it sound like I was the one who did something wrong, and all I felt was cold. When he finally stopped talking, I spoke, calm, slow, steady. "Leonardo, let's get a divorce." Chapter 5. I heard the sound of something crashing on the other end of the line, followed by Leonardo's furious roar. "Monica, what do you want from me? How many times do I have to explain myself before you stop being so unreasonable? Do I have to get on my knees for you to be satisfied? You're a mother now. Can you stop being so childish? That kid landing in your womb must be bad karma." Even through the phone, I could picture his twisted, enraged face. But he forgot one thing. The baby was my last line. I rested my trembling hand on my flat stomach, and for the first time, I felt relieved. I had made the right decision. Who knows what kind of control Leonardo would have exercised over our child. Before the call cut off, I heard one last thing. "You're unbelievable." I didn't have to guess. Leonardo had blocked me again. That was his usual move. The moment he felt slighted, he'd block me everywhere. And once his mood lifted, he'd unblock me, waiting for me to crawl back like a dog, tail wagging, begging to be let in, even though he was the one in the wrong. Even though I had forgiven him, I still lived like someone begging for crumbs, torn between fear and guilt. Day after day, I broke myself to fit his comfort. But now, I was finally awake. 4 days. Leonardo didn't come home. No messages, no calls. And honestly, it was peaceful. I threw myself into work with everything I had. And that's when I realized, no one's life stops just because someone else walks out. I used to think I mattered too much to him. But in the end, all it got me was pain. I had been so stupid. I thought this peace would last. Until one weekend, while out shopping with a friend, a message popped up from Leonardo. Had to rush out for a last-minute trip. Forgot to tell you. Should be back tomorrow. Isn't your next checkup coming up? I'll go with you. Be good and wait for me. Leonardo's moods came and went like a storm. He thought if I stayed quiet, the problem was solved. But this time, he miscalculated. I just didn't care anymore. Knowing how pushy he could get, I sent a short, perfunctory reply. Okay. Might as well use the chance to bring up divorce again. But as I put down my phone and looked up, I saw her, the woman who had haunted me like a shadow. April Lee. At first, I wasn't sure it was her. I'd only seen photos on someone else's phone, never met her in person. But then, she walked up to me, held out her hand with a smile and said, "You're Monica, right? Hi, I'm April. I think you know who I am." She was poised, elegant, like she was the one who belonged. Like I was the other woman. "I've been feeling down lately, so I decided to travel a bit. Leo said he had time and offered to come with me. Can you believe we ran into each other here?" Leo. I never called him that. Only Leonardo. He once told me that calling a man by a nickname was too clingy, he couldn't stand it. Now I see that wasn't the truth. It wasn't that he couldn't stand it. It was that Leo wasn't mine to use. Another lie. Another cover-up. He hadn't been on a business trip. He had been with her. And I should have known. But this time, I didn't lose control. I didn't shout or break down. Because I finally realized, I didn't need to fight for what was never mine. Chapter 6. I just said I wanted ice cream. And Leo went to get it for me. Want me to call him and ask for one more? No need. I replied with a smile. The words had barely left my mouth when Leonardo walked right past me, hurrying toward April. He didn't even notice I was there. Where did you go all of a sudden? You don't know this place. What if something happened to you? Don't you know how worried I was? 5 years of marriage. I knew Leonardo too well. That tone of concern? It wasn't fake. April held his arm sweetly, took the ice cream from his hand, and pouted. Sorry. I didn't mean to. I just ran into someone I knew and stopped to say hi. And with that, Leonardo finally saw me sitting across the way. He froze. Then, in a flurry, yanked his arm from her grip and turned toward me, visibly shaken. Can I call you Moni? April said, with a perfectly pleasant smile. Leo was just worried about me being out alone. That's why he brought me. I hope you don't mind. I said I didn't mind, but my eyes never left the ice cream in their hands. Something so ordinary, and yet I never had it. Every time I wanted some while we were out, Leonardo always had a reason to refuse. It's cold. It's junk. And it's bad for the baby. You're a mother now. Stop being selfish. But thinking about it now, we only live once. Why did I spend so long following someone else's rules? My silence lasted too long. Leonardo started to panic. He stepped closer and gently wrapped an arm around me, voice soft, almost pleading. Moni, when April was little, she almost got kidnapped once. She's got trauma from that. That's the only reason I brought her. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to misunderstand. I know you've been upset lately, and I was afraid it'd stress you more. That's why I kept it from you. Are you out for a walk? Where are you going? I'll go with you, okay? Every word he said was framed like he was just thinking of me. I smiled. Should I thank him, too? I looked at him calmly and replied, is that even worth explaining? Isn't it normal for friends to care about each other? No need to be nervous. I won't misunderstand. My voice was too calm. So calm it was almost cold, because I really didn't care anymore. Leonardo opened his mouth a few times like he wanted to say more, but in the end, said nothing. I turned to the street breeze. April, meanwhile, kept trying to make small talk. Moni, I heard you've been staying home these years to focus on recovery and trying for a baby. Aren't you worried that you and Leo don't have much to talk about anymore? They say a first love is unforgettable. I guess it's true. Even this, Leonardo must have told her. In this triangle, I was the one left out. I smiled faintly. Is that so? Maybe we ran out of things to talk about long ago. That's why I don't care anymore. He's never lacked people to talk to, especially now that he has a soulmate like Miss Lee. Chapter 7. As soon as I finished speaking, I saw the last glimmer in Leonardo's eyes go dim. His brows furrowed. I could tell he was trying to hold himself together in public, suppressing the urge to explode. April, clearly not satisfied with the outcome, opened her mouth to speak again, but Leonardo cut her off directly. It's almost dinner time. Why don't we go eat something together? To me, it all reeked of guilt. I smiled, picked up my bag, and turned to leave. You two go ahead. I'm not joining. My friend's still waiting for me. Enjoy your meal. Then I looked straight at Leonardo and added, Miss Lee is out here all alone. Of course you should stay and take care of her. I had barely taken a few steps when Leonardo rushed after me, grabbing my wrist. Moni, stop making a scene, okay? I've already explained everything. Do you really have to embarrass us like this, with so many people watching? Just then, chaos broke out behind us. April had fallen to the ground, clutching herself in pain. Leo, someone stole my bag. Leonardo faltered. For a moment, I could see it, his instinct to rush to her side. But I was still here, so he held back, tightening his grip on my wrist. Moni, you've always been the understanding one, right? Don't make this harder. Tell me what you want, I'll give it to you when we get home. April doesn't know anyone here but me. She just needed company. Why can't you understand that? I almost laughed. So she needs protection. But it's okay to leave your pregnant wife home alone for days? Was I safe? With break-ins and assaults happening all the time. Did he ever consider what could have happened to me? No, Leonardo never did. So what? Leonardo? You lied to me over and over again. What do you expect me to understand? How exactly am I supposed to forgive you? This wasn't the first time. Did he think I was just some fool he could keep fooling? What a joke. My words shut him up completely. April's cries behind us only twisted the knife deeper into him. I'd look like the unreasonable one if I stayed any longer. Without another word, I yanked my arm free and walked away without looking back. But Leonardo suddenly ran up, pulled me into his arms, and planted a kiss at the corner of my lips. I'm sorry, Moni. Please forgive me, just this once. Then he turned and rushed to April, helping her up and hurrying to the hospital. I stood still, watching them disappear into the distance, and that was the moment my heart truly went cold. When I got home, I sat silently in the living room. It wasn't until midnight that I heard the front door open. Leonardo stepped in, guilt written all over his face. Moni, you're still up? His voice was hoarse, like he'd been yelling or crying. Maybe he knew how wrong he'd been today. He walked over and half knelt in front of me. I didn't mean to leave you. I had no choice. April has a bleeding disorder. If her wound wasn't treated quickly, it could have been dangerous. That's why I rushed her to the hospital. Yes, we dated before, but it was years ago. She's just a friend now. She only came to see me, and that's how it happened. I couldn't just leave her there, could I? It all sounded reasonable, but my heart still ached. They dated for 1 year. It ended long ago, and yet Leonardo still remembered every little detail about her. Meanwhile, I've been his wife for 5 years, and he couldn't even remember the most basic things about me. I remember clearly. Once, my migraine flared up again. We were out of meds. I asked Leonardo to go to the pharmacy downstairs. Instead, he shouted at me, face buried in his phone. Can't you take care of this yourself? Do you always have to rely on someone else? After begging, he finally went, but he came back with the wrong medicine. How should I know what you take? I'm not the one sick. If you didn't explain it clearly, that's on you. That bottle has sat on my nightstand for 5 years. If Leonardo had even once cared about me, he'd know. Chapter 8. I stayed silent. Leonardo's patience began to wear thin. He stood up and stared at me, not saying a word. But I had no interest in dragging this out any longer. I turned and went to the study. When I returned, I handed him the signed divorce papers and a pen. Sign it. There's no point in dragging this out any further. My voice was calm, emotionless, because I was afraid he still thought I was just throwing a tantrum. Leonardo barely glanced at the papers before tossing them aside. April and I are just friends. That's all. Why are you blowing such a small thing out of proportion? Don't you have friends too? Why are you taking it this far? You know what? You're exhausting. Always so aggressive. It's draining. And that's when I truly didn't understand him anymore. If he was tired, hadn't I already let go? Why hold on like this? Even if you insist on this divorce, what about the child? What about them? You came from a broken home. You told me you'd give your child a complete family. Are you keeping that promise now? Monica, how can you be so hypocritical? I felt like something invisible had locked my body in place. I couldn't move. Tears welled in my eyes, but I stubbornly held them back. My parents divorced when I was young. I grew up with just my mother. It's been a wound in me all my life. That's why I always longed for a happy home of my own, and I had only ever told Leonardo about it. Now, he used it like a weapon, a boomerang that struck me right in the heart. I threw the abortion report in his face. Leonardo's expression darkened. His voice trembled as he spoke. What is this? What does this mean? Monica, I'm asking you something. Who gave you the right to get rid of the baby? He was furious, like a clown putting on a show. I'm the father. Did you even think about how I'd feel? Did you ask me? What happened to you, Monica? You're being unreasonable, selfish. What else are you capable of? I let him finish. Then I said, quietly, Leonardo, you cheated. Why shouldn't I end the pregnancy? You don't care about this family. Why should I pretend to? At the word cheated, his expression faltered, but only for a second. Then he yelled again, cheated? Monica, do you have proof? Don't blame me for your decisions. I couldn't help it. I laughed. I must have been blind to treat this man like he was something precious. I pulled out my phone and showed him the screenshots my friend had sent me. I didn't want this to get ugly, but it looks like I have no choice now. Leonardo, is cheating only about sex to you? On the day of my checkup, you wore a suit and took my wedding dress to your ex's wedding. You took photos together. You traveled together. Did you once remember that you had a wife? A child? You didn't. You're the one who promised on your knees that you'd never contact her again. Did you forget that? What were you thinking each time you lied to my face? Each time I stayed quiet, did you think I was easy to fool? I'm a human being, Leonardo. I bleed too. Why should I be the only one destroyed in this relationship? With each sentence, his face paled more and more, until finally, he collapsed onto the floor, completely drained. I'm really done. I won't keep playing this game with you. Chapter 9. Leonardo still refused to agree to the divorce. He hid at the company and didn't come home at all, as if running away would make this all disappear. I didn't bother chasing after him. I was focused on my work. The overseas project was finally stabilizing, and Jia told me that soon I'd be able to relocate. Out of sight, out of mind. Perfect. That day, I went to work as usual. Near the end of the day, my phone began blowing up with messages from Leonardo. I was annoyed, so I silenced the phone and tossed it aside. It wasn't until night, after everything was done, that I checked again. A flood of missed calls and messages. Moni, where are you? I just got home and you're not here. You're not answering my calls. Moni, please reply. Don't make me worry about you. Monica, how many days has it been? Isn't this enough? I've already done everything I could. What else do you want? I had no intention of replying, but just as I was packing up to leave, his call came in again. I meant to hang up, but my finger slipped, and I accidentally answered. Moni, you finally picked up. Where are you right now? Why weren't you home? His anxious tone caught me off guard. I had never heard him sound like that before. That used to be my role. Just out shopping. Why? Something wrong? I never told him I was working again. Especially now, no reason to. As I walked toward the building exit, there was a pause on the other end of the line. Then he spoke, his voice low and hurt. Moni, you're lying. I looked up and saw him standing right outside the company building. The call ended. He rushed over and pulled me into a hug. When did you start working again? Why didn't you tell me? Funny, I used to crave this kind of closeness. Now, I felt nothing but disgust. I broke free from his arms and took a step back. I wanted a new life, and since we're getting divorced, I didn't see the need to tell you. But he frowned and said coldly, I didn't agree to the divorce. Don't say that again. I came here today to take you home. You can do whatever you want now. I won't control you anymore. I've thought things through about the baby, too. We're still young, we'll have kids in the future. And I've already told April I won't contact her alone anymore. He looked at me expectantly, like a child showing off a good deed and waiting for praise. But I just stared back at him, expressionless. I'd heard all of this before, too many times. I'm not stupid enough to fall for it again. Some lies can fool others, but they'll never fool the one living through it. He noticed I wasn't speaking and tried to say more, but just then, his phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and quickly shoved it back in his pocket. Flustered. His acting was pitiful. I didn't even need to guess who it was. Not answering? What if it's something important? I asked casually, but Leonardo's face turned even more panicked. Moni, don't say things like that. You're my wife. Whatever happens with anyone else has nothing to do with me. Chapter 10. Leonardo said one thing, but as soon as the phone in his pocket went silent, he kept pulling it out, again and again. Moni, watching him so visibly distracted, I found it almost funny. If you're really that worried, just go. Why hesitate? His expression twisted with guilt, but it didn't take long for him to make his decision. I'm sorry, Moni. I'll be back soon. I promise. Whether he came back or not, it didn't matter anymore. I should have let go the first time he left me behind, while he was off playing caretaker at the hospital. My phone buzzed nonstop with his messages. I ignored every single one. He said he'd be back soon, but he showed up a whole week later. When he returned, I was packing, and Gia had confirmed my departure date. I was heading abroad. Moni, where are you going? Leonardo stood there, eyes dark and ringed with exhaustion. Clearly, he'd been losing sleep. Must have taken good care of someone. I didn't bother hiding anymore. Overseas. New project. It's been decided. He froze. I knew what he wanted to ask. Why hadn't I told him? Did I still have any feelings for him? But I didn't give him the chance. Leonardo, I've thought about everything. It's not that I never gave you a chance, but chances are for people who are ready to take them. Your heart hasn't been with me for a long time. No matter how much I do, it's useless. So why not let go and give each other peace? I admit, during the year I was depressed. You stayed by my side, and if it weren't for you, I might not have recovered so soon. But like you once told me, people change, and I don't see the version of you I once loved anymore. Being with you now is exhausting. Every day reminds me of the children we lost. You weren't wrong, and neither was I. What was wrong was us. We should have never started this. Some love is just a mistake, and mistakes have no happy ending. This constant, painful entanglement will only destroy the last good memories we had. I know you don't want that. Neither do I. So let's stop here. I said every word calmly, because I'd thought it through. At first, he didn't agree. He smashed things in the house, but when he saw how unmoved I was, he realized it. I no longer loved him, no matter what he did. I would never waver again. Before I left the country, Leonardo finally signed the divorce papers. On the day of my flight, he came to the airport, eyes red. He looked at me and asked, "How long will you be gone?" Not sure. 3 years, maybe 5. I'll wait for you. Moni, I'll wait. I didn't answer, just looked him in the eyes and said, Leonardo, you'll live just fine without me. People move on. That's what you told me once. Remember? I watched the last glint in his eyes fade, then turned and boarded the plane without looking back.